The knock on Rain Mitchell's apartment door at 2:47 a.m. wasn't gentle. It was desperate, frantic scratching mixed with shallow, ragged breathing that made her blood run cold. She'd lived in this Chicago neighborhood for 3 years and learned one essential rule: mind your business after midnight. But when she looked through the peephole and saw a man in a torn designer suit leaning against her doorframe, his dark eyes flickering with something between consciousness and oblivion, every instinct screamed danger. Not the kind that would hurt her, but the kind that would change everything. She should have walked away. Should have called 911. Should have pretended she heard nothing. Instead, Rain opened that door. And the moment Kang Dae-young collapsed into her arms, smelling of gunpowder, rain, and expensive cologne, she became the most important person in the Korean underworld's most wanted man's life. If you're obsessed with dark romance and forbidden love stories just like this one, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our steamy mafia romance stories. Drop a comment telling me if you'd hide a dangerous stranger in your home. Let's get into this story. Rain Mitchell wasn't built for fear. Growing up on the south side of Chicago with a single mother who worked double shifts and a grandmother who'd survived the civil rights movement with her spine straight and her head high, she'd learned early that the world wouldn't coddle black women. You had to be smart, strong, and strategic. At 26, she'd worked her way through community college, landed a decent job as a medical billing specialist, and saved enough to move into her own one-bedroom apartment in a neighborhood that was gentrifying faster than she could spell the word. She kept to herself, stayed out of trouble, and built a quiet life that was entirely, safely hers. Until tonight. Rain stared at the man currently unconscious on her cream-colored couch, the couch she'd saved 6 months to buy, and wondered if she'd finally lost her damn mind. He was beautiful in that dangerous, untouchable way. Sharp jawline, full lips pressed into a thin line even in unconsciousness, jet black hair falling across his forehead. His suit probably cost more than her monthly rent. But it was torn at the shoulder, and when she'd helped him inside, she'd seen the wound. Not a gunshot, thank God, because she wasn't equipped for that level of drama, but a deep gash along his ribcage that had bled through his white shirt, turning it crimson. Stupid, Rain. So stupid, she muttered, gathering her first aid kit from the bathroom. She'd done basic first aid training at her job. Nothing extensive, but enough to know how to clean and dress a wound. As she approached him with antiseptic and gauze, his eyes snapped open. Rain froze. His eyes were dark, almost black, and filled with a lethal awareness that made her heart slam against her ribcage. Where am I? His voice was accented, smooth like aged whiskey, but rough with pain. My apartment. You knocked, well, more like fell against my door. You were bleeding. Rain kept her voice steady, refusing to show the fear tap dancing along her spine. I'm going to clean that wound. Stay still. You should have left me. His jaw clenched. You don't know what you've done. Probably something stupid, Rain agreed, pulling on latex gloves. But I did it anyway, so now you're going to let me make sure you don't bleed out on my couch. Something flickered in his expression, surprise, maybe even respect. He didn't speak as she unbuttoned his ruined shirt. Didn't flinch when she cleaned the wound with antiseptic, though she saw his hands clench into fists. Up close, she could see more, faded scars across his torso, the lean muscle of someone who lived dangerously, the expensive watch that probably cost more than her car. Who are you? Rain asked quietly, applying butterfly bandages. No one you should know. Try again. I just saved your life. I think I deserve a name. His eyes locked onto hers, and for a moment, the world seemed to narrow to just the two of them. Kang Dae-young. The name meant nothing to her, but the way he said it, like a warning, like a confession, made her pulse quicken. Well, Kang Dae-young, I'm Rain. And you're welcome. The corner of his mouth twitched. Almost a smile. Rain. Fitting. What's that supposed to mean? You command the space around you. Like royalty. He winced as she wrapped gauze around his torso. Even covered in a stranger's blood, wearing. His eyes dropped to her pajamas, cartoon characters. Rain looked down at her SpongeBob sleep shorts and tank top and felt heat creep up her neck. Not all of us sleep in designer suits. Lucky for you. She finished bandaging him and stepped back, stripping off the gloves. Who's after you? People you don't want to meet. That's not an answer. It's the only one I can give you. Dae-young tried to sit up and immediately regretted it, pain flashing across his features. Stop moving, Rain ordered, pressing a hand to his shoulder. You need rest. I need to leave. If they track me here, then you're in no condition to run. Rain crossed her arms. It's 3 a.m. You can barely sit up. Whatever gang war or corporate espionage or international incident you're caught up in can wait until sunrise. Dae-young stared at her like she was a puzzle he couldn't solve. You're not afraid of me. Should I be? Yes. Well, I'm not. Rain grabbed a blanket from her bedroom. I've dealt with worse than bleeding men in expensive suits. I doubt that. You don't know my ex. She tossed him the blanket. I'll take the bedroom. You stay here. Don't bleed on my couch any more than you already have, and we'll figure out the rest in the morning. She was halfway to her room when his voice stopped her. Why did you help me? Rain turned back. His eyes were intense, searching, like her answer mattered more than it should. Because someone was in trouble, and I could help. She shrugged. That's what decent people do. Decency is rare in my world. Then you're in the wrong world. This time, he did smile. Small, barely there, but real. Maybe I am. Rain woke to the smell of coffee. For a disoriented moment, she forgot about the bleeding stranger, forgot about the insanity of last night. Then reality crashed back, and she bolted upright, grabbing her phone from the nightstand. 6:47 a.m. She had work in 2 hours. Rain threw on a robe and ventured into her living room, where impossibly, Kang Dae-young stood in her kitchen, pouring coffee into her favorite mug. He'd somehow cleaned up, his hair damp, suggesting he'd used her shower, and wore only his dress pants, his bandaged torso on full display. Make yourself at home, Rain said dryly. He turned, and the morning light streaming through her window caught his features, making him look less like a dangerous criminal and more like something out of a magazine spread. I hope you don't mind. I needed coffee. You needed rest. You were half dead 6 hours ago. I heal fast. He offered her the mug. Peace offering for the intrusion. Rain took it, their fingers brushing. The contact was brief, electric. She pulled away quickly, sipping the coffee to cover her reaction. It was perfect, exactly how she liked it. Lucky guess, she asked. I'm observant. His eyes tracked her movements as she leaned against the counter. You have a routine. Coffee maker set for 6:45 a.m. 2 sugars, cream in the fridge. Keys always on the hook by the door. Phone charger on the left side of the bed. That's not observant. That's creepy. That's survival. Reading people, environments, it keeps you alive in my line of work. And what line of work is that, exactly? Rain set down her mug. Before you give me another cryptic non-answer, I'm going to be late for my job, and I need to know if I should expect armed men to break down my door. Dae-young was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was careful, measured. I run a corporation. Import-export, primarily. But I made enemies. Powerful ones who wanted to eliminate me before a crucial meeting. Import-export. Rain raised an eyebrow. That's code for something illegal, isn't it? It's code for complicated. Try me. I'm smarter than I look. That ghost of a smile again. I never doubted your intelligence. Anyone who can perform emergency medical care at 3 a.m. while interrogating her patient is clearly exceptional. Flattery isn't an answer. Neither is trust freely given. Dae-young moved closer, and Rain fought the urge to step back. He radiated intensity, controlled danger. But you saved my life, Rain Mitchell. So I'll give you truth. Yes, my business operates in gray areas. Yes, I have enemies who would kill me without hesitation. And yes, by helping me, you've put yourself at risk. Her heart stuttered. How much risk? If they find out you sheltered me? Considerable. His expression darkened. Which is why I need to leave. Now. Before they trace me here. How would they trace you? Did you have your phone? Destroyed it 2 blocks from here. He grabbed his ruined shirt from where it hung over a chair. But I have enemies with resources. They'll search every building in the area eventually. Rain's mind raced. This was insane. She should let him leave, scrub any evidence he was here, and pretend this never happened. But something in his eyes, a flash of vulnerability beneath the hardened exterior, made her pause. When's this crucial meeting? Dae-young's brow furrowed. Tomorrow night. Why? Because you can barely stand up straight. Whatever this meeting is, you won't survive it in your condition. Rain crossed her arms. You need another day to heal. Rain. I have a guest room. Well, technically it's a storage closet with a futon, but it has a lock. You can hide there during the day while I'm at work. Tonight, we figure out your next move. You don't understand what you're offering. Then explain it to me. Dae-young stared at her, and she saw the war behind his eyes, pragmatism versus something else. Something that looked like he didn't want to put her in danger. Finally, he spoke. There's a war happening. Not the kind with soldiers and countries, but with territories and power. My organization controls significant operations on the East Coast. A rival family, the Huang family, wants what's mine. They ambushed me last night, tried to kill me before I could solidify an alliance that would make me untouchable. An alliance with who? The Italians. The Bratva. Every major organization that respects strength. His jaw tightened. If I show up to that meeting alive, I win. If I don't, my people lose everything, and the Huangs take over operations that would flood this city with products that destroy communities. Rain processed this. So you're a criminal, but you're the better option for criminal? I'm a realist. This world exists whether people acknowledge it or not. I choose to control it with strategy, not brutality. The Huangs don't share that philosophy. It should have scared her. Should have sent her running to call the police. But Rain had grown up watching her neighborhood get flooded with drugs, watching good people get caught in cycles they couldn't escape. She knew the game was rigged, knew that sometimes the world wasn't black and white. One day, she said firmly. You stay hidden, you heal, and tomorrow night you leave for this meeting. After that, I never see you again. Dae-young stepped closer, so close she could feel the heat radiating from his skin. You're either very brave or very foolish. Maybe both. Rain met his gaze without flinching. Do we have a deal? He extended his hand. Deal. She shook it, and this time when their skin touched, the electricity didn't fade. It intensified, spreading up her arm, making her breath catch. Dae-young felt it too. She saw the slight widening of his eyes, the way his fingers lingered against hers for a heartbeat too long. I should get ready for work, Rain said, pulling away. Rain. His voice stopped her at the bedroom door. Thank you. She looked back at this dangerous, beautiful man standing in her kitchen like he belonged there. Don't make me regret it. Okay, can we talk about the tension? Rain is playing a dangerous game, and Dae-young is clearly already obsessed. What would you do in this situation? Hide him or run? Comment below. And if you're loving this story, smash that like button and share this with someone who loves dark romance as much as you do. Let's get to 1,000 likes. I know we can do it. Now, back to the story because things are about to get even more intense. Work was torture. Rain sat at her desk, processing medical bills and insurance claims, while her mind replayed every moment of the morning. The way Dae-young moved with lethal grace despite his injury. The intensity in his eyes when he looked at her. The way his accent wrapped around her name like a caress. Girl, where are you today? Rain blinked, focusing on her coworker Shanice, who stood beside her desk with concern written across her face. Sorry, didn't sleep well. I can see that. You've been staring at that screen for 10 minutes without typing. Shanice perched on the edge of her desk. Man trouble? Something like that. Ooh, do tell. Shanice grinned. You never talk about your love life. Is he fine? Rain thought about Dae-young shirtless in her kitchen. Very. And the problem is? He's complicated. Like, really complicated. Honey, all the good ones are. Shanice patted her shoulder. Just be careful. Complicated can be fun, but it can also be dangerous. If only she knew how right she was. The day crawled by. Every time Rain's phone buzzed, her heart jumped, terrified it would be her landlord or a neighbor saying armed men were kicking in doors. But the texts were mundane, a reminder about her dental appointment, a promotional email, her best friend Kira sending memes. By the time 5 p.m. rolled around, Rain was exhausted from anxiety. She stopped at the corner store on the way home, grabbing ingredients for a real meal. If Dae-young was healing, he needed proper food, not just coffee. The whole way up to her apartment, she half expected to find it ransacked, Dae-young gone, or worse. Instead, she found him exactly where she'd left him, in the storage room turned guest room, sitting on the futon with a book from her shelf. You're reading my romance novels? Rain asked from the doorway. Dae-young looked up, and something in his expression softened when he saw her. I finished the thriller you had. This was next in the stack. And? Your taste is illuminating. He held up the book, a steamy historical romance. The Duke is an idiot. She should choose the stable master. Despite everything, Rain laughed. You're reading the sex scenes and critiquing character choices. The sex scenes are instructional. His eyes glinted with mischief. And the character choices are frustrating. She clearly wants the stable master. She wants security. The Duke provides that. The stable master provides passion. Security without passion is a prison. Rain leaned against the doorframe. Spoken like someone who's never had to worry about where their next meal comes from. Spoken like someone who built an empire from nothing and understands that passion fuels ambition. Dae-young set down the book. I didn't inherit my position, Rain. I earned it. Every scar, every enemy, every drop of blood. The air between them shifted, growing heavier. How are you feeling? Rain asked, changing the subject. Better. Your care was effective. Let me check the bandages. She shouldn't have offered. Should have kept distance between them. But when Dae-young lifted his arms and she carefully unwrapped the gauze, she couldn't regret it. The wound was healing remarkably well, no infection, edges already beginning to close. You really do heal fast, she murmured, fingers brushing the skin around the injury. She felt him tense beneath her touch, heard his breath catch. Rain. Her name was a warning. Sorry. She pulled back, but his hand caught her wrist. Don't apologize. His thumb traced circles on her pulse point, and she knew he could feel how fast her heart was racing. I'm trying to be honorable. You saved my life. You're sheltering me at great personal risk. The last thing you deserve is me taking advantage. What if I don't think it's taking advantage? The words escaped before she could stop them. Dae-young's eyes darkened, his grip on her wrist tightening slightly. Don't say things like that. Why not? Because I'm barely holding on to my control as it is. His voice dropped, rough with want. Because you're the first truly good thing I've encountered in years, and I will not corrupt that. I won't corrupt you. Rain's breath hitched. You think I'm good? I think you're extraordinary. He released her wrist, but the ghost of his touch remained. And when this is over, when I walk out that door tomorrow night, you'll go back to your safe, normal life. You'll forget about me. Will I? You should. That's not an answer. Dae-young stood abruptly, putting distance between them. I bought groceries. Rain blinked at the subject change. What? I had a delivery service drop them off. I couldn't let you spend money feeding me on top of everything else. He gestured toward the kitchen, and Rain saw bags on the counter she'd somehow missed. I also replaced your bedding. The couch will need professional cleaning. She walked into the kitchen, opening the bags. They were filled with expensive ingredients, organic vegetables, premium cuts of meat, imported cheeses. Dae-young, this is too much. It's the least I can do. He followed her, maintaining careful distance. Let me cook for you. It's been a long time since I've done something normal. There was something vulnerable in the request, a glimpse beneath his armor. Okay, Rain agreed. But I'm helping. They cooked together in her tiny kitchen, moving around each other with surprising ease. Dae-young was skilled with a knife, his movements precise and efficient. He made a Korean-style stew while Rain prepared rice and vegetables. Where did you learn to cook? She asked, watching him work. My halmeani, my grandmother. She raised me after my parents died. His expression grew distant. She believed a man should be self-sufficient. Should know how to feed himself, clean his home, care for his body. She sounds wise. She was. Until the Huangs killed her to send me a message. Rain's hand stilled on the knife. Dae-young. It was 5 years ago. I was building my organization, stepping on toes, making enemies. His jaw clenched. They couldn't get to me, so they went after the only family I had left. Burned down her restaurant with her inside. I'm so sorry. Don't be. I made them sorry enough for both of us. His eyes met hers, and she saw the killer beneath the cultured exterior. I dismantled their operations piece by piece. Took everything they valued. And tomorrow, I'll finish it by securing alliances that will ensure they never hurt anyone I care about again. The weight of his words hung in the air. Anyone I care about. Did that include her now? After one night and one day? They ate in comfortable silence, sitting on her couch with bowls of steaming stew. It was delicious, complex and flavorful in a way that made her usual takeout seem inadequate. This is incredible, Rain said. Halmeani's recipe. I've never made it for anyone outside my organization. Why me? Dae-young set down his bowl, turning to face her fully. Because you remind me that goodness exists. Because in 24 hours, you've shown me more genuine kindness than I've experienced in 5 years. Because when I look at you, I remember what I'm fighting for. Rain's heart hammered. Dae-young. I know I have no right to feel this way. I know I'm leaving tomorrow and this ends. But I need you to understand. He reached out, cupping her face with a gentleness that contradicted everything he was. You've already changed me. Whatever happens tomorrow, I'll carry this. Carry you. She should have pulled away. Should have reminded him this was temporary, impossible. Instead, Rain leaned into his touch. Show me, she whispered. Show you what? That I've changed you. That this isn't just adrenaline or gratitude. Show me something real. Dae-young's control shattered. He kissed her like a man starving, like she was oxygen and he'd been drowning. His lips claimed hers with a passion that stole her breath, his hands sliding into her hair, tilting her head to deepen the kiss. Rain met him with equal fervor, her fingers gripping his shoulders, careful of his injury but desperate to pull him closer. He tasted like the stew they'd shared, like coffee and something uniquely him. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Dae-young pressed his forehead to hers. This is real, he said roughly. Too real. And it terrifies me because I don't have room in my life for this. For you. Then make room. It's not that simple. Life never is. Rain pulled back enough to meet his eyes. But I'm not asking for forever. I'm asking for right now. For whatever this is before you walk away. You deserve better than whatever I can offer. Let me decide what I deserve. Dae-young searched her face, and whatever he found there made his decision. One night, he said. I'll give you one night where I'm not a mafia boss or a wanted man. Where I'm just Dae-young, and you're just Rain. What happens after? I don't know. His thumb traced her bottom lip. But tonight, I don't want to think about tomorrow. Then don't. Rain kissed him again, and this time when he lifted her into his arms and carried her to the bedroom, she didn't question it. Didn't overthink. She just felt. Rain woke wrapped in warmth and the scent of expensive cologne mixed with something earthier, Dae-young's natural scent. They hadn't slept together, not fully. Despite the passion, Dae-young had maintained ironclad control, giving her kisses that melted her soul and touches that branded her skin, but never crossing the final line. I won't take that from you when I can't give you everything in return, he'd murmured against her lips. You deserve someone who can stay. Now, in the early morning light, Rain studied his sleeping face. He looked younger like this, peaceful. The hard edges softened, the constant vigilance relaxed. She traced a faint scar along his collarbone, and his eyes opened immediately. Sorry, she whispered. Didn't mean to wake you. I'm a light sleeper. Survival instinct. His hand caught hers, bringing it to his lips. Good morning. Good morning. Rain glanced at the clock. 7:15 a.m. You have to leave tonight. Yes. Are you scared? Dae-young considered the question. Of the meeting? No. I'm prepared. But of leaving you? His eyes darkened. Terrified. You could stay. After the meeting. We could. Rain, no. He sat up, the sheet pooling at his waist. My world is blood and violence. Everyone close to me becomes a target. I won't do that to you. I'm already involved. Hiding you made me a target. They don't know about you. I'll make sure it stays that way. Frustration built in Rain's chest. So what, you just disappear? Pretend this never happened? I'll ensure you're protected. Money in an offshore account under a shell corporation. Security monitoring your building. No one will touch you. I don't want your money. I want, she stopped, terrified to finish the sentence. What? Dae-young cupped her face, forcing her to meet his intense gaze. Tell me. You. I want you. Pain flickered across his features. You can't have me. Not without accepting everything that comes with it. Then let me accept it. You don't understand what you're asking. My enemies would use you against me. They'd hurt you, kill you, just to prove a point. His thumb traced her cheekbone. I've spent one day with you, and you've already become a weakness. Imagine what would happen if they knew how deep this goes. How deep does it go? Dae-young's kiss was his answer, desperate, consuming, filled with everything he couldn't say. When he pulled back, his voice was raw. Deep enough that leaving might kill me. But staying would definitely kill you. Before Rain could respond, his body tensed. He was off the bed in seconds, moving to the window with lethal grace. What's wrong? Black sedan. Circling the block for the third time. His voice was cold now, the lover replaced by the boss. They're searching. Rain's blood ran cold. The Huangs? Most likely. Dae-young was already moving, pulling on his clothes with efficient speed. I need to leave. Now. It's broad daylight. They'll see you. Then I'll handle it. By handle it, you mean kill them? Rain grabbed her robe. In front of my apartment? Dae-young, this is a residential neighborhood. There are families, kids. I'm aware. He checked his watch, somehow still working despite everything. Which is why I need a different exit. Is there a back way out of this building? Fire escape. It leads to the alley. Show me. Rain led him through the apartment to the window that opened onto the fire escape. Below, the alley was empty, lined with dumpsters and recycling bins. I can draw them away, Dae-young said, already calculating. Lead them toward the industrial district. And then what? You're still injured, still alone. I've survived worse. Barely. He turned to her, and the look in his eyes made her breath catch. I will not let them hurt you. Whatever it takes, wherever I have to run, I will keep you safe. What about keeping yourself safe? I stopped prioritizing that the moment I knocked on your door. He kissed her, hard and fast. Stay inside. Lock the door. Don't come out until I call you. You don't have a phone. Dae-young pulled a burner phone from his pocket. Bought it with the groceries. Your number's already programmed. He pressed it into her hand. 3 hours. If you don't hear from me in 3 hours. No. Rain grabbed his shirt. Don't give me instructions for if you die. Just don't die. Something like a smile crossed his face. Yes, ma'am. He was halfway out the window when Rain spoke again. Dae-young. Come back. After the meeting, after everything, come back to me. He looked at her over his shoulder, and the longing in his expression nearly broke her. If I can, I will. That's the only promise I can make. Then he was gone, disappearing down the fire escape with the silence of a shadow. Rain rushed to the front window, watching the street. The black sedan was parked now, 2 men in dark suits scanning the area. Her phone, her real phone, buzzed. Unknown number. Heart pounding, she answered. Hello? Miss Mitchell. The voice was accented, male, unfamiliar. You don't know me, but I know you've been harboring someone very valuable. Ice flooded her veins. I don't know what you're talking about. Please don't insult my intelligence. Kang Dae-young entered your building 2 nights ago and hasn't left. We have surveillance footage, witness reports. The voice was pleasant, conversational, which made it infinitely more terrifying. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to tell me where he is, or we're going to come inside and have a very unpleasant conversation. I'm calling the police. By all means. But know that we have people inside the Chicago PD. People who will ensure any report you make disappears. People who will ensure you disappear. Rain's hands shook. What do you want? Kang Dae-young's location. Give him to us, and you walk away from this with a very generous payment for your cooperation. And if I don't? Then you become a lesson about the consequences of helping our enemies. Through the window, she saw the men getting out of the sedan. Heading for her building. He's not here, Rain said quickly. He left an hour ago. Fire escape, headed east. You're lying. Check my apartment. He's gone. There was a pause. We will. And Miss Mitchell? If you're lying, what happens next will be on your conscience. The line went dead. Rain's mind raced. She had maybe 2 minutes before they reached her door. She couldn't run, they'd catch her. Couldn't fight, she wasn't trained. But she could be smart. She grabbed her phone, opening the camera app and starting a live stream on her social media. If they were going to break in, there would be evidence. The knock came hard and aggressive. Rain Mitchell. Open the door. I'm calling the police, she shouted, making sure the live stream caught everything. Open this door, or we break it down. I'm a single black woman, and strange men are threatening to break into my apartment. I'm recording this, and it's live online. That gave them pause. She could hear urgent whispers. Miss Mitchell, we just want to ask some questions. Then come back with a warrant and a badge. Her phone buzzed. Text from the burner number. Keep stalling. 2 minutes. Her heart leapt. Dae-young was coming back. No, that was worse. If he came back, they'd catch him. She typed frantically, no. Get away. I'm fine. The door shuddered under a heavy impact. They were breaking it down. Rain screamed, making sure it carried through the live stream. Help. Someone help me. Doors opened in the hallway. Neighbors appearing. What's going on? Mrs. Chen from 3B, elderly and fearless. Call 911. Rain shouted. These men are breaking into my apartment. We're private security, one of the men said smoothly. Miss Mitchell is harboring a dangerous fugitive. I don't care if she's harboring Bigfoot, Mr. Williams from 3C, a retired veteran. You don't break down doors in my building without a warrant. I've already called the police. The men exchanged looks. The live stream had over 100 viewers now, growing by the second. Neighbors filming with their phones. Too many witnesses. This isn't over, one of them said, locking eyes with Rain through her peephole. Then they were gone, retreating before the police arrived. Rain's legs gave out, and she slid down the door, shaking. Her phone buzzed. Are you hurt? She typed, no. They're gone. Where are you? Roof. Stay there. Police are coming. The next hour was chaos. Police taking statements, neighbors recounting what they saw, Rain playing the terrified victim, which wasn't hard because she was genuinely terrified. She didn't mention Dae-young. Told them she had no idea why those men targeted her, that maybe it was a case of mistaken identity. The officers didn't look convinced, but without evidence, there was nothing they could do. When they finally left and the neighbors returned to their apartments, Rain's phone buzzed again. Fire escape. Please. She opened the window, and Dae-young climbed through, pulling her into his arms the moment he was inside. Never again, he said fiercely. Never again do you put yourself at risk for me. You came back. You could have run, could have saved yourself, but you came back. Of course I did. He pulled back, cupping her face. Don't you understand yet? You're not just some random woman who helped me. You're... He stopped, jaw clenching. I'm what? Everything. The word was raw, honest. In 2 days, you've become everything. Rain's eyes stung with tears. Then don't leave. I have to. But not how I planned. His expression was determined. Come with me. What? To the meeting. To my world. I can protect you better if you're with me. He was talking fast now, planning. After tonight, after I secure these alliances, I'll have the power to keep you safe. To end this war. But until then, I need you where I can see you. Dae-young, I have a job, a life. That almost ended today. They know who you are now, Rain. Even if I disappear, they'll use you to get to me. The truth of it settled over her like ice water. She was in this now, whether she wanted to be or not. What happens after tonight? If all goes well, I'll have the backing to eliminate the Huang family permanently. You'll be under my protection, with resources to go anywhere, do anything. His thumb traced her jaw. If it goes badly, at least we'll be together. It was insane. Absolutely, utterly insane. But when Rain looked into Dae-young's eyes, saw the desperate hope there, she knew her answer. Okay. I'll come with you. His kiss was fierce, grateful, consuming. Pack light. We leave in 4 hours. Where's the meeting? The Old Port District. Neutral territory. He was already moving, checking weapons she hadn't even realized he'd hidden in her apartment. I've called my second. He's bringing clothes, security, everything we need. You have weapons hidden in my apartment? Of course. I wasn't going to stay here defenseless. He flashed her a smile that was all dangerous charm. Don't worry. They're well hidden. Rain watched him transform from the man who'd cooked her dinner and held her tenderly into someone lethal, controlled, powerful. This was his world. And she was about to step fully into it. The car that picked them up was nothing like Rain expected. Sleek, armored, with windows so dark she couldn't see outside. 2 men in suits sat in the front, both wearing earpieces and carrying visible weapons. Dae-young had transformed too. Gone was the injured man in a ruined suit. Now he wore all black, designer, tailored perfectly, making him look like a dark prince. His hair was styled back, his expression cold and commanding. But when he looked at Rain, warmth flickered in his eyes. She'd changed into the clothes his people brought, a sleek black dress that was elegant but allowed movement, low heels, hair pulled into a sophisticated bun. She looked like she belonged to this world. She felt like an imposter. Nervous? Dae-young asked, taking her hand. Terrified. Good. Fear keeps you sharp. He squeezed her fingers. But know that everyone in that meeting has been vetted. The Italians value honor. The Bratva respect strength. And my people would die before letting harm come to you. Why are you so sure the alliance will work? Because I'm offering them something they need, access to West Coast ports without the Huang family's interference. In return, they provide muscle and political connections. His jaw tightened. The Huangs have been disrupting shipments, undercutting prices, starting wars. Everyone's tired of it. I'm offering stability. The car pulled up to a warehouse that looked abandoned. But as they exited, Rain saw the subtle signs of security, cameras, armed guards in the shadows, reinforced doors. Inside, the warehouse had been transformed into something out of a movie. A long table dominated the center, surrounded by chairs. Men in expensive suits stood in clusters, speaking in low tones. The air hummed with tension and power. Every head turned when Dae-young entered. Kong. A tall man with salt and pepper hair and an Italian accent approached, embracing Dae-young. We heard you were dead. Rumors of my demise were greatly exaggerated, Antonio. Dae-young gestured to Rain. This is Rain Mitchell. She's under my protection. Antonio's eyes assessed her with the precision of a jeweler examining a diamond. Bella. Welcome. He kissed her hand, and Rain saw the calculation behind his charm. Any friend of Kang's is a friend of ours. A massive man with Slavic features approached next. Kang. You look well for a dead man. Dmitri. Always a pleasure. They clasped hands. Shall we begin? The meeting was unlike anything Rain had ever witnessed. These men spoke in coded language, negotiating territories and shipments like CEOs discussing quarterly profits. Except the products were illegal, and the consequences of broken deals were measured in bodies, not lawsuits. Dae-young commanded the room with quiet authority. He didn't raise his voice, didn't make threats. He simply stated facts, presented solutions, and waited. The Huang family won't accept this, a Korean man Rain didn't recognize said. They'll see it as an act of war. It is an act of war, Dae-young replied calmly. One they started when they tried to kill me. I'm simply ending it. By isolating them completely, Antonio observed. Clever. Without access to ports or political protection, they'll collapse within months. Unless they strike first, Dmitri added. They have soldiers. Loyalty. Loyalty bought with fear isn't loyalty. It's slavery. Dae-young's eyes hardened. My people follow me because I've earned their respect. Because I protect them, enrich them, and value their lives. The Huangs rule through terror. When faced with a real threat, that foundation crumbles. You seem certain. I am. He glanced at Rain, and she saw the truth there. Because I finally have something worth protecting. Something worth building a future for. The words hung in the air, and every person in that room understood the implication. Dae-young wasn't just fighting for territory or pride. He was fighting for her. The negotiations continued for hours. Contracts were drafted in real time by lawyers who appeared from back rooms. Shipment schedules coordinated. Territories divided. Rain sat silently beside Dae-young, watching, learning. She began to understand the complexity of his world, not just violence and crime, but strategy, politics, human nature. These men were monsters, yes. But they were also businessmen, fathers, leaders of communities that existed in the shadows. Finally, as midnight approached, Antonio stood. I believe we have an agreement. To new alliances. He raised a glass of whiskey. The others followed suit. To new alliances. Dae-young stood, pulling Rain up with him. To the future. They drank, and Rain felt the weight of history shifting. Whatever happened next, the underworld landscape had changed tonight. As people began to disperse, Antonio approached Dae-young privately. A word, friend. They stepped aside, and Rain watched as Antonio spoke quietly, his expression serious. Dae-young's face remained neutral, but she saw tension in his shoulders. When they returned, Dae-young's hand found hers, gripping tight. What's wrong? She whispered. The Huangs know about the meeting. They're planning to hit us on the way out. Fear spiked. How many? Enough to be a problem. His jaw set. But Antonio's people will provide an escort. We'll make it. You don't sound convinced. I'm prepared for any outcome. He pulled her close, his lips brushing her ear. But I need you to promise me something. If things go wrong, if I tell you to run, you run. Don't look back, don't try to help. Just survive. Dae-young. Promise me, Rain. She looked into his eyes and saw the fear there. Not for himself, but for her. I promise. It was a lie. They both knew it. The ambush came 3 blocks from the warehouse. One moment they were driving through empty streets, the next, gunfire exploded around them. The armored car held, but the vehicles ahead and behind weren't as lucky. Down. Dae-young pushed Rain to the floor, his body covering hers as bullets ricocheted off the windows. The driver swerved, taking a sharp turn into an alley. More gunfire. Shouting in Korean and Italian. The controlled chaos of a professional hit. We need to move, one of Dae-young's men said. Car won't hold forever. Where's our backup? 3 minutes out. We don't have 3 minutes. Dae-young made a decision. We go on foot. There's a safe house 2 blocks north. Sir, that's a kill zone. Everywhere is a kill zone right now. Move. The car screeched to a stop, and suddenly Rain was being pulled out, Dae-young's hand iron tight around hers. They ran through the alley, his men forming a protective circle. Behind them, explosions. Screams. The sound of warfare in the heart of Chicago. Keep moving. Dae-young urged, pulling her faster. They burst onto a main street, and for a moment, Rain thought they'd made it. Then a black SUV cut them off, and men poured out, weapons raised. Huang family. She recognized the snake tattoo on one man's neck. Well. A man stepped forward, older, with cruel eyes. Kang Dae-young. Not so untouchable after all. Huang Min-jae. Dae-young's voice was ice. You're making a mistake. Am I? You're cornered. Your allies are blocks away. And you brought a pet. Min-jae's eyes raked over Rain with disgust. How far you've fallen, bringing a black whore to a business meeting. Rain felt Dae-young's entire body go rigid. Watch your mouth, he said softly, which was somehow more terrifying than if he'd shouted. Or what? You'll kill me? Min-jae laughed. You're outnumbered, outgunned, and out of time. But I'm feeling generous. Give me the girl, and I'll let you live. For now. Never. Then you both die. Min-jae raised his gun, aiming at Rain. Everything happened at once. Dae-young moved with inhuman speed, pushing Rain behind him. Gunfire erupted. His men returned fire. And from behind the Huang family, new vehicles appeared, Antonio's people, Dimitri's soldiers. The ambush became a massacre. Rain crouched behind a car, hands over her ears, watching in horror as the battle unfolded. Dae-young fought like a demon, all grace and lethal precision. Every movement calculated, efficient. When it ended, the street was littered with bodies. None of them from Dae-young's side. Min-jae lay on the ground, bleeding from a leg wound. Dae-young stood over him, gun pointed at his head. You threatened her, he said quietly. You insulted her. You tried to kill her. Dae-young, wait. The gunshot echoed through the night. Rain flinched, turning away. When she looked back, Dae-young was walking toward her, blood splattered on his face and suit, eyes wild with adrenaline and relief. Are you hurt? His hands ran over her, checking for injuries. No. I'm okay. The reality crashed over her. You killed him. Yes. Just like that. He threatened you, Rain. He would have kept coming, kept trying to hurt you. I ended it. His expression was hard, unapologetic. This is who I am. This is my world. She should have been horrified. Should have run screaming. Instead, she grabbed his bloody shirt and pulled him down, kissing him fiercely. Don't ever scare me like that again, she said against his lips. Dae-young's laugh was shaky with relief. I'll do my best. Antonio approached, somehow still immaculate despite the battle. I believe that settles the Huang problem. Min-jae was their leader. Without him, they'll fracture. I want every remaining Huang family member found and given a choice, Dae-young said, still holding rein. Join us or leave the country. Anyone who chooses violence gets the same as their boss. Understood. Antonio smiled. You've changed, Kong. Love looks good on you. Dae-young glanced at Rain. Yes, it does. 3 months later. Rain stood on the balcony of the penthouse overlooking Lake Michigan, watching the sunrise paint the water gold and pink. Behind her, through the floor-to-ceiling windows, she could see the expansive living space that had become her home. Their home. Arms wrapped around her waist, and Dae-young's chin rested on her shoulder. Couldn't sleep, he murmured. Too much thinking. About? How different my life is now. She leaned back against him. 3 months ago, I was a medical billing specialist living in a 1-bedroom apartment. Now what am I, exactly? Mine. He kissed her neck. Isn't that enough? I'm serious, Dae-young. What's my role here? I'm not part of your organization, I'm not trained in anything useful to your world. You're useful to me. That's all that matters. Rain turned in his arms. I need purpose. I need to do something. Dae-young studied her face, and she saw the wheels turning in his brilliant mind. What if I told you I've been thinking about expanding into legitimate business? The alliances have stabilized things. We have capital, connections. We could invest in communities, create opportunities. You want to go legitimate? Not entirely. But I want to build something beyond the underworld. Something that could outlast us. His hand rested on her stomach, a gesture that had become habit even though there was nothing there yet. Something for the future. Rain's breath caught. They'd talked about the future in abstract terms, but this felt concrete. Real. What kind of businesses? That's where you come in. You know communities like yours, what they need. Medical clinics, affordable housing, job training programs. His eyes gleamed with excitement. We could make a real difference. Using dirty money to do good? Using money to do good. Its origin doesn't matter as much as its application. Rain considered this. It wasn't perfect, wasn't the fairy tale ending romance novels promised. But it was real, messy, complicated, like love itself. I have conditions. Name them. No blood money. Whatever businesses we start, they're funded by legitimate ventures only. Agreed. I have full control over operations. This isn't a front, it's real. Agreed. And we help people without expectations. No favors owed, no strings attached. Dae-young smiled. You drive a hard bargain. I learned from the best. He kissed her then, slow and deep, the kind of kiss that still made her toes curl. When they broke apart, his expression was serious. There's something I need to ask you. Okay. He pulled back, and to Rain's shock, dropped to one knee. Dae-young. Let me say this. He pulled out a ring, a stunning diamond surrounded by smaller stones that caught the sunrise like captured stars. Rain Mitchell, you saved my life in every way a person can be saved. You showed me that I could be more than my worst moments, more than the violence and darkness. You make me want to build instead of destroy, to protect instead of conquer. I know my world is complicated and dangerous. I know I can never give you a completely normal life. But I can give you my loyalty, my protection, and every piece of my heart. His eyes shimmered. Will you marry me? Rain's vision blurred with tears. That was actually really beautiful. Is that a yes? That's if you forgot something important. Dae-young frowned. What? You never actually said you love me. His expression softened. I love you, Rain. More than I thought I was capable of loving anything. You're my beginning and end, my reason and my redemption. Now you're just showing off. Is it working? Rain laughed through her tears. Yes, you idiot. I'll marry you. Dae-young slipped the ring on her finger and stood, lifting her off her feet and spinning her around. His laugh was pure joy, unrestrained and beautiful. When he set her down, his expression turned serious. There's one more thing. The organization needs to know about us officially. There will be a ceremony, traditional Korean, to present you to the family. The Mafia family? All family is Mafia family in my world. He cupped her face. But I need you to understand what it means. Once we do this, you're not just my wife. You're the boss's wife. People will look to you, expect things from you. You'll have power, but also responsibility. What kind of responsibility? Mediation. Community leadership. Sometimes making decisions I can't make because I'm too close. His thumb traced her cheekbone. The women in our world have always been the spine, the men are the fist, but women are what holds everything together. Rain thought about her grandmother, her mother, all the strong black women who taught her that strength came in many forms. I can do that. I know you can. You've already started. He pulled her close. Antonio's daughter came to you about her abusive husband. You helped her leave, set her up with resources. Dimitri's wife asked you about the medical clinic plans. She wants to fund a women's health center. You're already building a network, creating change. I was just helping people. That's what leadership is. A phone buzzed, Dae-young's, always within reach. He checked it and sighed. I have a meeting in an hour. Legitimate business. We're buying a chain of grocery stores in underserved neighborhoods. Look at you, businessmen. Look at us, he corrected, pulling her toward the bedroom. But we have an hour. And I can think of better ways to spend it than talking about grocery stores. Rain laughed as he pulled her into a kiss that promised exactly how the next hour would unfold. Her life had become something out of a movie, dangerous, passionate, complicated. But as she lost herself in the arms of the man who'd stumbled into her world and changed everything, Rain couldn't bring herself to regret opening that door. Sometimes the best love stories weren't the safe ones. Sometimes they were the ones that challenged you, changed you, made you braver than you ever thought possible. And sometimes, just sometimes, saving someone meant saving yourself too. 1 year later. The community center's grand opening was everything Rain had dreamed of and more. 3 stories of pristine new construction in the heart of the South Side, offering medical services, job training, after-school programs, and affordable childcare. The first of 5 planned centers across Chicago. Rain stood at the podium, looking out at the crowd, neighbors who'd watched her grow up, community leaders, and toward the back, looking decidedly out of place in their expensive suits, Antonio and Dimitri with their wives. And in the front row, Dae-young, watching her with open pride. Thank you all for coming, Rain said into the microphone. This center represents something important, proof that our communities deserve investment, resources, and respect. Every service here is free or low cost, every staff member is from the neighborhood, and every decision will be made with community input. She caught Dae-young's eye and smiled. I learned from someone very wise that power isn't about control, it's about what you build with it. So let's build something beautiful together. The applause was thunderous. After the speeches, as people toured the facility, Dae-young found Rain in the medical wing, watching the doctors set up equipment. You did it, he said, sliding his arms around her expanding waist. Everything you promised. Rain leaned back against him, her hand covering his on her 6-month pregnant belly. We did it. Your money, your connections. Your vision, your leadership, your heart. He kissed her temple. I just provided resources. You provided hope. We make a good team. The best. Their daughter kicked, and Dae-young laughed, the sound still surprising and wonderful. She's strong. Like her mother. She'll have to be. With you as a father and me as a mother, normal was never an option. Normal is overrated. Dae-young turned her to face him. Happy? Rain looked around, at the center they'd built, at the future growing inside her, at the man who transformed from a bleeding stranger into her entire world. Incredibly. No regrets about opening that door? She thought back to that night, to the desperate knock that changed everything. To the choice she'd made to help instead of hide. Not a single one. Dae-young kissed her, soft and sweet, a promise of all the tomorrows they'd build together. Outside, Chicago bustled with its usual chaos, traffic and noise and millions of stories unfolding simultaneously. But in this moment, in this place they'd created together, there was only peace. And love. The dangerous, impossible, world-changing kind of love. The best kind. And that's how a kind black girl hiding a hunted Korean Mafia CEO turned into the most powerful love story. Did you love this story as much as I loved writing it? Smash that like button and let me know in the comments which part was your favorite. Was it the intense first meeting? The steamy almost scenes? Or the beautiful happy ending they built together? Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications because I post dark romance, mafia romance, and forbidden love stories every week. Share this with your friends who love this genre. Let's spread the love. Comment below, would you have opened that door for Dae-young? And what kind of story should I write next? More mafia romance, a billionaire story, or something completely different? Your comments guide what I create. Thank you so much for watching, my beautiful romance lovers. Until next time, keep believing in the kind of love that changes everything.